Good morning, everybody, and welcome to day 2 of the 2021 ERP Head-to-Head. My name is Owen Fanning from Lumenia Consulting. I'll be chairing this morning's call. I'm joined by Jonathan Snelgrove and Franck Schoepfer-Fusey from Infor. Today, they're going to be giving you a demonstration on Infor sales quotations. You can ask questions throughout the demonstration by using the Q&A tab on the right-hand side of your event portal. Time permitting, we'll be taking questions at the end. Please put your questions in the Q&A tab, also on the right-hand side, and we will get to anything at the very end of the session. Before we finish up, be sure and leave some feedback on the feedback tab. You can score this demo 1 to 5. It's very quick to do. There is a prize to be won, and you'll get on the leaderboard. So now I'm going to hand over to Jonathan. Off you go, Jonathan.
Thank you very much, Owen, and good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Infor session on CPQ. Just going to give you a quick look at the agenda for today, if the slide transition works. Love a bit of technical first thing in the morning. So I'm just going to give you a 3 or 4 minute introduction to Infor, who we are and what we're about, before handing over to Frank, who's going to introduce you to Infor CPQ, configure, price, quote. I'm sure you're all aware of that. Then he's going to go into a demonstration of that capability that's within the solution, and at the end wrap up with some USPs and what we think really make the Infor solution really powerful for you. Obviously, we'll save some time at the end for questions, as Owen said. So let's crack on. So just to introduce Infor to you and tell you a little bit about us, and I guess our products, our versions, and things like that. So we don't really think about it as products. Our solutions are called Infor CloudSuite, and they're built for specific industries. And we'll talk a bit about that in a minute. We also don't really talk about versions, since we're a true cloud provider with monthly release cadence, and we'll talk a bit more about that as well. So who are Infor, and what are we about? Well, we think of ourselves as the industry cloud company. And what does that really mean? What does it mean for you primarily? Everyone claims to have an industry focus. But at Infor, we have solutions designed for certain industries, such as industrial manufacturing, automotive, aerospace and defense, food and beverage, and things like that. So in terms of product names, we try and keep it really simple. Infor CloudSuite Industrial Manufacturing, Infor CloudSuite Automotive. Fairly straightforward, and I'm sure you get the idea. So what is an industry cloud suite? At the heart, a fully functioning ERP with vertical and micro-vertical functionality built in. And this provides our customers with the strength of our core industry-focused ERP solutions. On top of that, industry-specific capability built in and industry-standard processes embedded within those solutions. As well as that, we deliver industry implementation accelerators to really speed up our implementation programs. This means you get all of the benefits of your solution, but much sooner. So let's take a look at the cloud aspect. The infrastructure of Infor CloudSuite is AWS, Amazon Web Services. And Infor has invested really heavily in modern multi-tenant architecture on the #1 cloud platform, which provides a highly stable, secure, and resilient foundation for our industry cloud suites. On top of this sits our operating services, Infor OS. These are the shared services that you need on a digital platform to operate your enterprise software. Infor includes capability for AI and machine learning, digital assistant, mobility, integration, workflow, and self-service tools enabling you to extend the solution and create your own apps. Infor's enterprise application platform is independently recognized as one of the most mature and most complete in the marketplace, and it comes with our cloud suites. Next are our enterprise applications, our ERP engines at the heart of our cloud suites. Highly robust, deeply functional, and designed for specific industries. And running throughout this are our industry analytics, embedded in the cloud suites, providing complete reporting and analytics, not just for your Infor data, but across your enterprise. So everybody's talking about cloud. But what does it really mean to you? And does it matter whether we're true multi-tenant, architected for cloud, or single-tenant, on-premise solution as cloud hosted? But let's think about what that might mean for you. Does it matter whether you get access to monthly updates and you toggle them on as you need them, or you wait 12, 24, 36 months for the next major release or until your business can manage the next upgrade for you to take advantage of that innovation that your R&D investment is funding. People talk about 6 monthly or 12 monthly releases, but is that really the speed of innovation that you expect from a true cloud platform provider? And does that give you a competitive advantage? Does it matter that as your release gets older, your support cost might increase? Or that your enterprise solution provides you not only with an ERP system, but with a digital platform for integration, growth, and innovation? And does it matter that you get world-class enterprise-level security, scalability, and resilience built in at a price point that you can afford? We think these things do matter, and therefore you should definitely be talking to Infor. Infor is a leader in the 2021 Gartner Magic Quadrant for Cloud ERP for product-centric organizations, and that's a pretty small club. So that's an introduction to Infor, what we're about. Now I'm going to hand over to Frank, who's going to take you through our sales quotation CPQ capability. Over to you, Frank.
Yep. Thanks. Hello, everybody, and thanks, Jonathan, for the introduction. So, let me introduce you Infor CPQ. That stands for Configure, Price, Quote. And Infor CPQ brings commercial configuration and technical configuration of ERP to the next level. So when I will be referring to commercial configuration, it's when you set up your product, services, and you set up the feature and option. And the technical configuration is when you want to produce and you create the bill of material and the routing so that you can send that back to ERP for production. So first, CPQ comes with 3 key components. The first one is the portal, the quoting and ordering portal that we call Infor Enterprise Quoting. And that's enable user to manage their quote and order and add to their quotes standard product that we can manually input inside the system or integrate directly from ERP. And they can also add to their quote configured product. And in that case, they will jump to the second key modules, which is the configurator engine itself, where in that configurator engine, they can configure their product, their services, define the price. We can even trigger engineering workflow from there. And I'm going to show you that during the demo later. And those 2 platforms, of course, are multi-device, works on PC, tablets, and mobile. And the third component, and Jonathan introduced it just a little bit earlier, that makes all possible is Infor OS. And that's an important component that comes. We're going to talk a little bit about it just later. But just normally Infor CPQ CloudSuite comes embedded, of course, with CloudSuite Industrial and our ERP, but it can come standalone. And in that case, you get Infor OS and all that come with it. So let's say a little bit of words about Infor OS. Well, it's a subject of its own, and we can spend hours on this, but because it brings a lot of things to the table. Infor OS stands for Infor Operating Services and not System. So it's a lot of services that we bring all together to get the user the best possible experience. So the first thing is our integration platform that we call ION for Infor Intelligent Open Network. And that service helps us integrate different solutions, Infor and non-Infor, all together. We can use different means to integrate the solution. The first will be using what we call BOD, Business Object Documents. This is a standard XML OHS format. And for example, if someone in the ERP is creating a new product or updating one, that will trigger a BOD, a product BOD, and every single application that has subscribed to this BOD, will receive that BOD, process it, and create the product or update it if necessary. And of course, that goes both ways. The other means is, of course, if we need real time, Infor ION provide a whole suite of API and also a bridge if we need to transform anything when we integrate with the solution. The second service, which is also very important for the user, is the security. So we provide SSO, single sign-on. So the user has only to sign in once. And through security, we'll define through roles what application data they can access inside the solution. And once the user is signed in, they will access dashboards that we can prepare for them, or the user can construct themselves, adding widget to it. And the idea is really to present the user with all the relevant data coming from different systems so they can be more efficient in their day-to-day activities. Also, Infor provides service around collaboration, bringing some chat functionality, as you can see there. And Ion also is a workflow engine, so we can also track the activity, see the workflow, and see who's taking care of what step, and so on. And to finish, another services that is embedded in Infor is the document management. We call IDM, Infor Document Management. And that's a central repository to create, view, edit, and store all the physical field from the different system integrated. And then, of course, Infor is also a data fabric when we will be able to gather all the information for the integrated application and use that information, for example, with Infobus to analyze and take informed decision. But we can also leverage our AI, Infor Coleman, as a conversational point of view, but also with machine learning, and make Coleman maybe alerts, predict, and maybe act on some repetitive tasks that are not very interesting for the end user, so the user can focus on the essentials. And last but not least, this platform allows very user-friendly graphical extensibility tools without any coding, and without compromising the core system and future upgrades. So that's very important. So let's jump now to enterprise quoting portal. So the user, and that can be two types of user accessing this portal. It could be internal sales rep accessing the portal to create their quotes for their dealers. So we will be in a B2B scenario in that case. But it can also be external user like distributors, dealers that will access the system, of course, with their own catalog, pricing and stuff. And in that case, we will be more in a B2B2C scenario when the dealer will be able to produce and generate quote and proposal for their end customer. So they will be able to access catalogs with lots of functionality to retrieve the different products. We can drill down into categories. We can tag to product to easily retrieve them. We can search, of course, by product name, product code, whatever. And then they can add standard product to their quote. And if it's a configured product, they will jump in that case into a CPQ engine, the configurator, to configure that product and define the price. And when they finish the configuration, they will be brought back into the portal, adding the line to the portal. And then we can drive the proposal with a few clicks, which enable us to stitch eventually different documents together, have different templates, different language, manage different currencies and stuff like that. We manage also all the pricing. We can have pricing that has pre-agreed with a dealer, for example, based on product quantity and stuff like that. So they can be automatically added to the quote. But if the user, internal or external, just want to exceed what's agreed and exceed his threshold, we can trigger a pricing approval from there, as well as inside the configuration and engineering approval workflow if necessary. Okay, what's also very important is that we also provide for internal user to help their dealer with an on-behalf mode, so they can impersonate the dealer, access their catalog and their pricing, and that fix an issue if necessary. And at the end, when you've done your quote, when you've done your different version of your quotes, and you're ready to transform the quote into an order, everything will flow back without manual intervention into the ERP. And that's a platform, like I said, is multi-device, of course. Let's talk a little bit about the configuration engine now. So it's very important. It has been engineered to be easy to use and graphical. Gartner, which has reviewed us this year, said is the best they've tested so far. And it's really true because it's really easy to use. We don't need absolutely IT people. We don't need development skills. And we can give the power back to the business user who know that product, so they can create the flow with drag and dropping inside their rule tree. And it's also very easy to maintain. We can embed rules between each other. So for example, if you have a pricing rule that you share between different products, you can call that sister rule inside every product rule. And if you want to change it, you change it once and it applies to every single rule that called this sister rule. So that's enabled us to do different type of configuration in different industry. For the records, CPQ was first designed for the window and door industry and has been extended to many different industry because of its flexibility. And in that case, what you see on the screen is we help define, depending on the industrial application, what is the right product for the user. And then after, we will jump into configuring that specific product the user has chosen. But we can also do different things. We can drive 2D drawing dynamically during configuration, and the drawing will be changed based on the input of the user in the configuration, of course. We can drive and store image that we can decide to display at one point in the rule if necessary. But if our customer wants to do a little bit more, we can propose what we call the advanced visualization option, and that's enable us to do dynamic 3D during configuration, of course available on mobile. But what we can do on mobile is augmented reality and see the product in your place. It could be very interesting. And then we also propose for some kind of industry, if necessary, when you cannot store all the possible combination based on color, marking, texture, we propose to dynamically drive a master image and apply on that image different texture, different markings, and so on. So just the idea of CPQ is really to get the engine at the center of it. And this is an example of a flow. If you use a CRM internally and you are working in an opportunity and you want to do a quote, then we can call enterprise coding inside CRM, and we have out-of-the-box integration with Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics, and Infor CRM. Just to give you an idea of how it integrates, it's really embedded, and that's the Salesforce one. So the user doesn't know is in another tool, is in our tool, and we are using SSO. So it just log once in Salesforce and just can access the configuration. And then if in its quote, he needs to add a configured product, we will call the configurator engine. If necessary, we will call for the 2D, 3D, or the visualization option that I've just mentioned before. And when the customer will be validating and transforming the quote into an order, everything will be sent back to the ERP, including the pricing, the feature and option, the BOM and routing if CPQ have produced them, and eventually 2D and 3D production plan without any problem. So we can do exactly the same flow from ERP, and we have also standard integration with all of the Infor ERP, of course, but also with Oracle and Microsoft Dynamics. And you can call the configurator the same way as an inside cell inside ERP. You can even recall a configuration made by the CRM guys if necessary, if something needs to be changed. So that's exactly the same flow. We can do also propose enterprise coding directly. It can be used by inside people or internal sales rep if you don't have a CRM, and they can access enterprise coding and do their quote and send them to their customer. Or it can be, like I said, distributor or dealer accessing this platform and managing their quote and order. We can also integrate, of course, e-commerce platform and call the configurator engine. And we have out-of-the-box integration with Magento and our e-commerce platform Infor Rhythm. And we even have customers having connected their PIM and PLM to CPQ, so they don't have to replicate data in different places. So the idea, of course, is even if you call it internally through your different application or externally in a showroom, integrated in a partner website, the whole idea of it is that you can manage the user experience across the different channels, because you may have one rule, and we know when we call the configuration who is calling it, from where, from what application, with what profile, and then we can drive the configuration. If you're a dealer, you won't see the same thing even though it's the same configuration. So that's really one point of creation and maintenance of your rules, and that brings a lot to the table, and again, without IT in the process involved, if necessary. So before we jump into the demo, either you are in our technological platform InfoOS, in the portal Enterprise Coding, or in CPQ. We are in the cloud, but we propose those extensibility tools that are very easy to use. In InfoOS, you can drag and drop, change your workflow very easily without doing any development. In the portal is the same thing. We provide a designer where you can add your own entity, your own fields, and we embed in this portal the same configurator as in the product and service configurator of CPQ. So you can create your own business rules. And of course, in the configurator, as you've seen, you can get your rule tree very easily with drag and dropping and stuff. So I propose you at this stage to jump into the demo. What we will be maybe starting to do is impersonate an internal user in a B2B scenario. So I will be accessing Infor OS, accessing enterprise coding, accessing my product catalog. We will be configuring a door in that case. We'll have a look at the price and discount. We will be generating a proposal for our customer. If the customer sends us back and wants us to change something, we will be creating a new version of our quote, send it again to the customer, and then the customer will come back to us and say which version he wants to order finally. And we'll transform that quote into another and jump rapidly into the ERP just to show you how the integration works. In the second scenario, we will be accessing enterprise coding as an external dealer, accessing his own product catalog, doing a quote for his end customer, and we will be configuring first a trailer that will enable to show you another way of representing a configuration with a custom UI. That's something we can do with CPQ. And I will show you also how we drive dynamic image in that example. And then we'll configure an office chair. That will be the occasion for me to show you 3D, and I will try to show you also augmented reality on my phone. And if we have a little bit of time left, we'll see, I can show you maybe some machine learning cross-sell and upsell functionality that I've created for some of my customer, and maybe some other extensibility example if time permits. So let me just jump into the first scenario. So I am here accessing Infor OS. Here we are, accessing my dashboards as an internal sales rep. So I will be retrieving different things. Like I said, you can see workflows and stuff like that. You can access different information, eventually different dashboards. I may have to relog, maybe refresh my screen because it's been up for a while and I've been automatically disconnected, I think. So yes, here it is. So I can switch back again into full screen. So the user from there can access through the widget the different part of the solution that he wants. We also have the app switcher there when he can access the application he has the authorization for. So in that case, we're going to jump into enterprise coding. Here we are. And in enterprise coding, we will be accessing the product catalog. And I have a specific assortment with that user. I don't have all the product available. So I will go into my product catalog. And from there, I can retrieve the product. So let's see, come back. Here we are. So I will be presented with different categories. If I jump into a categories, I will be retrieving a different other possibility to filter and retrieve so I can add tags to products. I can make a search by price range. I can show only the configurable and then can add as many tags as necessary. I can also search directly for my product. So if I want to see the wood door, I can only retrieve it that way. And I will be able to jump into the product. And that one is a configurable product. So I have two ways of doing things. I can, if I don't want to jump into the configuration, I can be presented is what we call here configuration options. So I don't necessarily need to go into the configuration. We have two ways of running CPQ. It can be in an interactive mode, where you go into the configuration and you enter and you answer the different questions, or you can make the system run in the background mode. So you can input information from there. It will run in the background and add it to your quote. And that could be very handy if you do a quote and a customer comes back to you 3 months later. So you can just run it in the background and make sure everything is still okay and nothing has changed. Your price is still the same. The options are still available and stuff like that. So that's very interesting. So in that case, we will jump into the configurator for the purpose of the demo. So we're gonna add this to a quote. I could have done directly an order if necessary, but let's jump to the quote. So here I am in the configurator engine. So I can answer a different option. I can display information at any point through a PDF, video, or whatever. I can select here my different species, my stain colors. I can be presented with different profile if necessary, different style if I want. I can add some exterior treatment, and I can choose my door style, pick my width, my heights, my thickness, and then I will be able to display a dynamic 2D object. So if I want this object and I want to show the dimension, I can directly change the drawing to display the dimension. If I want to maybe display some inches, again, the drawing will dynamically change according to what I just input. And let's see if I want to change my, let's say, width to something a little bit bigger. You'll see as it will reflect on the drawing there. Okay, I can also decide to go for a glass panel at the top and at the bottom, and go on with and proceed with my selection. I can decide to have maybe more inches. Let's make 4. And as you can see, you'll see it right away. And we can be presented with the breakdown structure of your price based on the different option we've just selected. Okay, so let's finish this configuration. So we are back into the portal with one line added. So if I jump into my quote, in that case, I will retrieve the product we just created together with the image and the dimension and stuff. And I will be first selecting my customer. So I will be a customer that are integrated for industrial cloud suites. Let's see this one. Okay, I will be able to select my my contact, of course, give it a sec. Yeah, here it is. My contact, I can select a different ship to address if we have different ship to address in the ERP, but I can also, for that particular quote, be able to change and have a one-time ship to address that I will be creating there. And when I will be transforming that quote into another, it will be automatically created into the ERP for me. And I can retrieve and manage different information there. Let's go back into my quote. We can give it a name, so H2H, the third one I did today, I think. I have my pricing, so I can edit the pricing detail, and I can make some change on the overall quote if necessary, or I can go line by line also. And again, here, if I want to add some discount, and I don't think I have any agreement so far. So if I put 5, I will be required to send a pricing approval workflow that I can submit, and I will have to wait for the workflow to be approved to be able to continue my process. So I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to remove my discount. Here we are. No workflow is necessary, so I can go back to my quote, and I will be generating my first proposal. So at that point, I will be sending a proposal to my customer. So I can decide to generate the document. So I have different options there. How do I want to display the pricing? How do I want to display the line details or not? Do I want to show the configuration detail? What culture do I want my template to be? I can manage currencies and exchange rate. I can name my my quotes. Let's say H2H ERP. I can output a docx or a PDF, and I can decide to stitch different documents together. Do I want to show a header? Do I want to show my terms and conditions and stuff like that? I can maybe try to preview it first. So the system will be generating the document for me. And I will retrieve here the different information. Let's give it a sec. Here you are. So it's using Word templates. Here you are. So I retrieve my first introduction letter, some information with my customer, the different pricing with the information, the total price, my terms and condition, and so on. So that's fine with me. I can now save it to my quotes, and decide at that point, let's go back again full screen, to email the document to my customer. So I've selected Evan Charles, so it already added the email. I can use a predefined template when I send my document. I can attach the one we just did together, and I can send it right away to my customer. So my customer will receive these quotes and will maybe call me back, or I will call him back. Most of the time, it's how it works. And then it will say, "Oh, that's fine. Your proposal is great, but I want to change something." So instead of changing my actual first proposition, I will be creating a new release of it. So I will be created a version, which is basically a copy of the first one. And from there, I can recall the configuration and change whatever I need to change again. So in that case, the customer wanted to change maybe the panel. It doesn't want or the bottom panel. It doesn't want it wanted a flat panel. So I'm going to change that. Finish my configuration, and I will be updating my second release of my quote, keeping still track of my first one untouched. And then I can, again, do a document, generate a proposal, send it to my customer. And then the customer will come back to me and say, "Oh, finally, it will be the first one I'm gonna order." So no problem. Let's go back to the first one. It hasn't been changed. I still have my my glass panel at the bottom there, and I can just convert it to another. So while doing that, everything will be sent back. I will place my order now. Everything will be sent back to ERP, and we are going to connect to ERP just to have a look at how it integrates natively with Industrial CloudSuite. Let's just open the ERP now. It will come in. So here it is. So let's go up to the sales order intake workbench. We'll be able to see what's going on there. Here we are. We can go to the sales order here and maybe filter for what's coming in today. And here we are. This is the one we just did. So I can open this one, this order that we just integrated. And I will retrieve the line that we just configured together, the wood door. So what I can see from there, I can have a look at maybe let me go to the action. I'll do that after. So the material information, the different status, and I can also convert this one. I can recall the configuration if necessary. So I will reopen from ERP the same configuration if I need to change something. Maybe later on, the customer is calling the install sales rep and say, "Oh, finally, I finally changed my mind and I want to change something." You still can recall it and change it from there. And then we will be able then after to generate the project structure. So what it will do basically, it will call CPQ and ask CPQ to generate the BOM, bill of material, and the routing. And we have a little example there. So the system will generate all that, call CPQ, retrieve the information, and let's see process the project structure just quickly. So it will be also generating a different documents while generating that project structure, but that's how it's set up on this environment, and we will retrieve all the feature and options that have been chosen and different other information. But let's go back into my sales order and let's have a look at the BOM structure that has been generated by a CPQ. So if now we go to the material information and bill of material, we will be retrieving the information, and we can see maybe on a tree view it's more nice. And here it is. It's a small example, but if we have subassembly, we will see them and stuff like that. So that's basically what I wanted to show you in this example. Let's jump to the second scenario. So in that case, I will be connecting as an external dealer. I'm presented here in Infor OS, connecting from outside of the company and with my own rights. So I don't have access to all the functionality, of course, but I can jump into enterprise coding without any problem. I have a restraint catalog item here based on my role and my rights, of course, with the own dealer pricing. So I'm going to go for the trailer config in that case. So let's jump into the configuration. I'm going to add it to quote. As you can see, here I am. It's a look and feel totally different because we also have the possibility, and we provide all the APIs to do so for our customer or a digital agency to create their custom UI if necessary. And that's the case here. So here I am presented with different options. I have constraint between options. If I change country, for example, and if I pick this country, I will only be presented with the standard range vehicle, because if I go back to France, I will be able to switch between standard or predefined. Predefined will be pre-fill everything for me. And in that case, we don't allow change, but we could have. And let's go back to the standard range. I can decide to display videos if necessary. If I want to show videos, it can be PowerPoint, it can be PDF, whatever. Here again, I can, like we did with the door, decide to show 2D object that we can dynamically drive from there. That's the case. So it will be, if I change the number of axes to 2, it will be reflecting on the 2D drawing, and that's the same for the heights and the length. Okay, as I'm selecting the different things, of course, I'm changing the base price depending on the option that I'm choosing, and I'm also impacting the weight. So, for example, if I choose this 8, I'm decreasing my overall weight, but if I pick the biggest one, I'm instead increasing my weight by 62 kilos and stuff like that. So that's how CPQ is calculating everything in the background in the rule itself. So let's just proceed with the configuration. Here we are. So in this second part, I can also decide to add extra information, let's say, and I can decide to show them. So it can be a detail of the different option, the different question. It can be why I should choose this option and what it can bring for me. So I can select different option and it will give me what's the added value of this option and so on. Like I said, we can display a PDF, PowerPoint, or stuff like that without any problem. And I will continue my configuration. So there is different section based on the different part of the trailer, of course, but I want to show you this part particularly. So in that case, the customer wanted their end customer to be able to absolutely personalize their trailer. So based on a set of standard options, so I can switch there to different standard colors, let's say. It's some of the color the customer selected, so I can switch to this, I can switch to red and input whatever color, but they also provide the end customer to select whatever color they want. So if by any chance I'm changing something, it will not be very nice, but let's pick this green. Let's copy it and go back there. So I can decide to have my own personal color, and the system will, and that's why I was saying by dynamic image rendering, we are applying on that master image the specific color we just chose. Okay, so let's just be back to something because I'm gonna add some logo. So let's be back to white, let's say. So I can decide to have the chassis the same color or not. So it will be the same idea. If I want another color for the chassis, I can pick whatever color I want or input a custom one. And I can decide the user to add their own logo. So for example, if I pick a logo, let's pick Lumenia, this one, which is why we're here today. Up, and I will be able to see directly my logo on my trailer, which will be the customer logo in that case. Yeah, here it is, but I can decide to make it center, to make it bigger, and I'll have my trailer totally personalized for me, as you can see. So let's continue and finish this configuration. So I can decide to buy it, to leasing or whatever, and I have all the logic in the configuration to do so. I'm be presented with my personal logo. I don't have chosen a personal color in that case, but I can decide to add a specific request, whatever. I can say, oh, possible to have the wheels in pink. Whatever. And in that case, what that will do is that will trigger an engineering workflow, because that's not something that's standard in the configuration, but I will be able, when I will be finishing my role, going back into the portal, I have my line there, and I can see from there that it's in a state that requires review. So I can here request send my review back to my workflow and the workflow as I've designed it. Okay, so I will be submitting it for approval. So it will go into my workflow process, and then someone from R&D or sales can go into the same rule with another profile and decide to accept it or not, input a specific price for it, and then I will be sending then after the workflow back and say, it's okay, you can proceed. Okay, just a few things left. I'm gonna try to show you the office chair in that case. We're gonna configure that one. And again, we'll jump into the configuration. And I guess so I can have still image while I'm connecting. So that's an image that we store, but that's not what I want to show you. I want to show you the 3D part of it. And here you are. It will show in a sec this dynamic 3D object that I can now drive and see in every aspect, every angle without any problem. Okay, I hope that render it well through Zoom. But from there, I can decide to change different parts of my 3D object and see exactly how it reflects on my object. From there, I can decide to maybe go for the white and chrome. Oh yeah, that one's nice. Okay, and from there, what I can do also, I'll try to make it work. Let's see, I can be presented with a QR code, and I'm gonna bring my mobile into the screen very quickly. Let's see if I can maybe go there and try to see it. Okay, and I will be accessing, here you are. So I'm gonna maybe show my room, and here it is. And I have the chair in my room, and I can turn around. I won't do it because I have a I have a link to my phone with a USB here for sharing the screen. So, but I can walk in and just turn around and see the chair on every aspects if I want. And definitely, I want the chair. It would be better than the one I have already. So that's basically how it works. And then I can, of course, get my pricing. I can finish my configuration, and that's it. I have 5 minutes left because I jumped to the before I jump to the USP, and I can maybe log into another environment, and as an internal sales rep. And by the way, and you might see that today I received the workflow that was just triggered on the trailer. And that's a quote engineering, exactly. And I can maybe open it and see the detail of it. I can assign it to me and maybe approve it or not, or go back into the configuration. But that's not what I'm going to show you there. We're going to go back into enterprise quoting, and we're going to try to add maybe a product to see. Let's see if it will come. I have so many things open on my computer at the moment. So let's bring it to live. If not, I would be maybe forgetting about that part. We don't have many time left. Let's see if it will, maybe I'll close some of the others because I have so many things open there. Up. Here it is. So what I can go for my product catalog, and I have some extensibility here that I did for my customer. If I go to the product catalog, I will. I changed the way it looks to display some image, for example, based on category and stuff. That's the case. I will pick a product, maybe up this one. I'm gonna pick this one, and when I will be adding to this product to my quotes, normally, if I enabled it, I should be presented, and it's not the case. I have to set it up here. That's for sure. But I have an extensibility there that I need to use Coleman. And if I do it again, normally this time, it will call for my machine learning and get my cross-sell and upsell option from there based on the history of the order that I've been doing so far. So let's see if it works this time. Here we are. And indeed, so the system using Coleman, the machine learning, added to my product here the different upsell and cross-sell option that I may want to add, because that's from the history of the quote. That's maybe some cross-sell and options that I had, so I can decide to add them or configure them and add them directly to my quote without any problem. I've been doing many extensibility, still without no development, no code, without compromising the updates. And for example, what I've done for one of my customers, and I will end with that, is the ability to import some information in a CSV format, so they can maybe retrieve information from outside. And let's go to here, my quote lines, and import them. So what I will be doing is importing, and there will be some configured products of standard product inside of this, and here we are. And I will be presenting with all this information that are on my CSV, and some of them I need to review them. That's a configured product, because in that case I was selecting an option that is no longer available. This import line has been doing fine. It's been imported and the system is fine. And this one requires review because I have asked some specific custom color inside of it. So that triggers the review. So that's the background I was talking about. And that's basically what I wanted to do for the demo part. And I will go back into my PowerPoint and talk a little bit about the unique selling point before we enter the Q&A section. So basically, what's make our solution unique? It's of course a complete quote and price solution order that you can use internally or externally. It's very important. I hope I was able to show you that, and that's the alarm. That's 10 minutes left we have. It's really a centralized and multi-channel configuration engine that you can call from different places with different profiles, with one rule in the middle that's make it very easy to create and maintain. That's also natively integrated with Infor ERPs and Industrial CloudSuite, of course, but also with other ERP or solution in the market. It's leveraging Infor OS. So even if you are not one of our ERP customer, when you get CPQ, you get Infor OS and all that brings to the table. And then, even though it's cloud, it's still flexible and rich, and let you do extensibility without compromising the core system and future upgrades. So if I had to pick one of them from our customer feedback, the one that's really make the difference is our designer, either for the portal and the configurator engine, and making the business user able to configure easily and maintain them without asking the IT, because IT can be then free to do other tasks than just updating a rule because they introduced a new option or they introduced a new rule somewhere. So we can really empower the business user. And that's basically it. I don't know if at that point you have any questions. We have 10 minutes left, Jonathan. I don't know if you I didn't have a look at the chat, but
yeah, we have no questions at the moment. If anyone has a question, folks, just go into the right-hand side of your portal and put it into the questions and answers, and we will call them out.
And anyway, we will be available in the meeting center and the one-on-one meeting, so you can reach out to us at any point, at any time, and we'll be very happy to deep dive into some part if necessary, or maybe schedule something, another meeting another time.
Yeah, thank you, Frank. We've got some other guys with us as well in the available one-to-ones. Do come and visit us. Be great to see you. You're on mute.
Okay, I want to thank the guys from Infor for a good presentation. So if you have any other questions, you can put them in, or as James says, you can arrange a one-to-one. We'd like you to give your feedback on this demo. Then in the feedback tab, you can win a prize. So score it 1 to 5, and we look forward to seeing you all after the coffee break. So thanks very much, folks.
Thank you,
everybody.
Thanks for your time, everybody.
Bye bye.